Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Random Block Challenges. So how it works is I'm going to stand here and press this button, and 9 blocks are going to come shooting out, and I have to use those 9 random blocks to build something in this world. I have to use all the blocks, they all have to be visible. I can only use the blocks that I get out of the machine, and I am allowed to use variations of the blocks. For example, if I get stone, I could use the stairs, walls, slabs, or anything like that in the build. Also, if I get a log out of there, I get to use any variations of that type of wood. And if I get any dies out of here, I get to use any block that has the color of the die in its name. Alright, so with that, I think let's just push the button and see what happens. Okay, not bad. Oh, I'm liking this. Come on. Okay! Yeah! Alright, let's go find a spot and start building this thing. Alright, so I found ourselves a little spot here on the shoreline, and I've laid out the blocks here, and I'm looking at them, and nothing's really coming to mind right now. I think I'm going to have to kind of think about this a little bit, but I've tried to kind of lay these out darkest to lightest again, just so that I can kind of get an idea for what we're dealing with on the spectrum. We have a good mix of dark and light with all of the different wood choices that we have. So we've got both acacia and cherry that we can use. And I'm loving that we have both the weathered and the completely oxidized copper. I think we can do something cool with that. Initially I'm thinking roof, but I don't know. I'm going to try to draw something up, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I have. Okay, so we're back, and I have 3 options that I've worked up here. And I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through my thought process a little bit with these. So one thing that I've actually agreed with myself on with all 3 of these is that I like the gray outside. I think that would be a good outline, kind of a good strong edge for this building. And then I also like having the mushroom stem as the walls. And having this white wall allows me to put the pink on it as well as some green. So the thing that I couldn't decide on is what areas I'm going to be putting some of these other blocks. Mainly the ones that are slab that you see, there's slabs here. I want to use some of them for the roof, and I'm thinking some of them for like a bottom trim, something like that. So I started with this one. We've got the dark at the bottom, which I kind of like, and then we're working our way into the lighter color of the blue. Now, some people might think that the blue is actually darker because it's got these dark lines in it, and you could actually think that way too. So over here, what I've done is I've switched it around basically, and I've got the dark on the bottom, and then I've got the blue into the sort of middle color up top. So for the middle one, I tried something completely different, going with the oxidized copper at the bottom, and then having kind of a complete change of color up at the top. And I almost like that the most. I don't know. I think it's definitely between these 2 designs. Let me know down in the comments, guys, which one you would pick. So while I was looking at these 3 designs, I also realized that I need to use the brown mushroom block. So I thought to myself, well, it'd be nice to be able to put it up here behind these, right? And then we can blend into that and use it for the roof. I've gone back and forth between these 3 a lot, and I don't really know which one I like the most. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building. And once I get into it, hopefully I'll be able to make a decision. Let's get something going here, and then I'll be back and I'll show you guys what I came up with. Okay, so hear me out. As I started building this thing, I started thinking that I think it would be really cool to make this like a steampunky fantasy type build. So I'm not completely sold on this use for the oxidized copper slabs. You can see I went for the roof with the nether brick and then the copper above it. I just think that that looks a lot better on the roof rather than surrounding that with the waxed oxidized copper. So I think I'm going to keep building a little bit more and then decide on maybe using that somewhere else or keeping it there. I don't know yet for sure. But I'm thinking what we can do is we can use some of the cherry wood and some of the lime and maybe even some of these slabs too to bring a little bit more light and life into this. And I also have a couple other ideas on things that I might be able to do out here with the landscape. And so I'm going to do a little bit of that too. I'm not completely sold with the shape on this side either. We might change that up too. But we'll see how it comes together once I start putting some details in here, because it might just be the fact that this wall looks really blank right now. So I'm going to hop back in and get going on this thing, and I'll be back. Okay, so here it is. This is what we've come up with. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of show you guys around the outside. As you can see, I've detailed everything with the cherry wood. I've also added some buttons on there. That just helped it not look so plain. I've also got green in for the windows. So something that I did that I think is kind of cool is I'm using the mushroom stems, obviously, for the wall. And they look like this normally, but if you put another mushroom block next to it, and then break it, it looks like this. And so what I've done is down here on the windows, that's what I did, is I placed some blocks in here and then broke them, and it makes it look like a little frame for these windows down here. Another thing I did was I put in some little decorational roof trusses up here on the top in this part and this part of these gable roofs. If you don't know, a gable roof is the type of roof that goes like this, that ends flat on one side. And the reason I put those in there is just for more detail, to make this wall look a lot better. I also added a few windows over here, as you can see, and I think that turned out not too bad. Over on this side, I've added a couple doors here and here, and I just think that brings a little bit more life into this. Another thing to mention is that down here you can see I've raised up these slabs onto fences, and I did that to try to simulate something called a wainscot. So if you ever look at the outside of a building, you'll have brick or stone coming up about halfway to where the door height is. And I think that's a really good ornament, and I think it really helps out this build, especially since the walls are mainly just one block, and so there's not a whole lot of detail in there. So bringing that up a little bit takes out some of that white space, and it helps the whole thing look a lot better, I think. So as you can see, we've used all of our blocks here. We've got the nether brick slabs in the roof. We've got also the copper and the mushroom blocks in the roof. We're also using the acacia and the tuff in the columns, and we've got all the cherry and the green all around decorating the outside, and the oxidized copper in the wainscot. Also, if you notice this building over here, that was my last video. If you want to go check that out and see how I made that, head over to my channel. This was a really hard block challenge, but I think it was fun to try to use some of these blocks in different ways than I'm used to. If you guys wouldn't mind liking the video and subscribing if you're new, that would really help me out. Also, if you want to see how I built the block palette generator, be sure to check that video out as well. With that, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.